Welcome to Chat with Leaders. Our mission is to give resilient servant leaders a platform for sharing the inspiring things they're doing to lead their teams, customers, and themselves wisely. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Klee, the owner of Ryno Media. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Doing well. You took an interesting kind of twist on owning your own business. Tell me about your solo agency mindset.
Sure. So like you said, I'm the owner and founder of Ryno Media. We're coming up on 3 years old. We're a boutique content communications agency with a focus on PR, specifically in the thought leadership realm. And when I was thinking about how to go solo, it took me a long time to figure out what the heck I wanted to even do. And then I was like, okay, well, now that I kind of know what I want to do, how am I going to do it? And my decision was make the jump solo and then lean on my network that I built over, a 13, 14-year career, mostly in PR, and then marketing, some advertising, and pull in preferred partners on projects that where it made sense to. So no overhead, no office, fully remote. And that was a trend we were already seeing a lot of industries, particularly in the marketing and advertising world, was you don't have to have an office, especially as a small business. So I took the leap on a pretty lean budget, working from home, and then just pulling people in that I needed to on projects that I needed them on. And it kind of worked. And then from there, you adjust on the fly and you grow. And I've got a couple of partners we'll talk about more, I'm sure, that I work with on a lot of projects now. But when it all started, I didn't know where it was going to go. I just knew I wanted to do my own thing and then lean on the pros I had around me, the people that were smarter than me and things I didn't know anything about.
Actually your business model lines up pretty much exactly like mine. No surprises there at all. But being solo and kind of being disconnected, not having an office, things like that, sometimes accountability is really hard. How do you specifically kind of help hold yourself accountable to deadlines, clients, just the general running of the business?
Is OCD an appropriate answer?
Yes, it is. Very much so.
That's just something I've always I don't like missing deadlines. Maybe it's because I've been in PR for so long, and when reporters, they need something, or you're at an agency and like the client's expecting something, like you just have to get it done. And that's just kind of how my brain is and how my drive and just how I work in general. So it's kind of like a self-accountability. But, hey, there are days where you just don't feel like doing anything.
Oh, yeah.
You need some inspiration. You got something to do. And really, it's just, so you need people around you to keep you accountable, whether it's a partner like your wife or a partner like your business partner. Maybe it's a friend you talk to and they're like, I get it, but you still got to get the work done. A lot of it is it's self-motivating because I don't want to let my clients down. I don't want to let my business partners down. I don't want to let myself down. I just want to do the work the right way. And setting deadlines helps. Putting things in your calendar. In my world, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. And I miss things when they're not on my calendar. So that's one way. And a lot of it's you just have to have a little bit of that internal drive. And if you don't, you need to be very organized.
How did you find those people that push you on a regular basis? I know you had a network of, 10 or 15 years worth of friends, clients, business partners, et cetera, before you started on your own. But how did you kind of, we'll say, cherry pick the people that you ended up being those like go-to people for you?
You just kind of learn over time. I've learned to trust my gut on the vibes and the feelings I get from people. It took me a long time to admit that I'm a people person. And one of my greatest strengths is dealing with people. I can get along with almost any type of person. And I'm almost sometimes overly optimistic, almost like blindingly so. So I've had to learn over the years, like you can still be optimistic and all that and be a good person, but you do have to have your antenna up. And, if something's just not right about somebody, and not in a bad way, but maybe you guys just wouldn't vibe well, listen to it. Not saying it's going to be always right. Maybe you find out you guys actually are quite compatible in a business sense or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just been, you get to know yourself is a big part of it. And then you meet people over the years that are good people, first and foremost. They're not afraid to, tell you no or like disagree with you, respectfully so. Um, and you want people with some complementary skill sets, and that's a big thing too. But for me, it's finding just some good folks, and that's a big theme in my life in general. Surrounding yourself with good people, smart people that are smarter than you, and good people.
And I think that the people that will tell you no, especially, I'm a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need people around me to help me kind of filter through different things. Like when I have a decision that I want to make, there's something that I know that I want to do and that I know will make a lot of people happy about it. But just because it makes people happy doesn't mean it's the right decision.
Yeah.
And so finding those people that'll help say, no, Chris, that's a bad idea, and here's why.
Yeah.
Really help kind of keep you, or kind of the bumpers that you have on your bowling alley lane, effectively, to kind of keep you straight and center as much as possible.
Kind of rein you back in.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. So how do you develop your other skill sets? Because I know me running a business, it's hard for me to spend time on actually, in development, continue to learn new development technologies. Yeah. How do you put time? How do you, kind of take your own time to be able to learn those new things?
Sure. No, great question. And part of it is what I just said, which is surrounding yourself with good people that are smarter than you and know more than you, especially in other areas you're not so smart at. So that's one way, because then you're constantly surrounded by people that are like, and if you're curious, like I am, you're like, hey, that's kind of cool. Like I want to learn more about that. I'm also just a naturally curious person. Like I love learning. It's funny going back, my mom sent me, I'm sure at some point all of our parents do this, where they send you a box of like old things that they're cleaning out their house.
Yes.
And so my mom just did that with me, and they had a bunch of old report cards and like progress reports and things like that. And one thing I saw through all my early years, even middle school, was no matter how my grades were, and I always had good grades for the most part.
Just throwing that disclaimer out there, right?
Throwing that out there. Some people said like his enthusiasm for learning is, great and blah, blah, blah. And also probably code words for your son's super hyper and like energetic. Let's channel that somewhere. But it's true. Like I love learning. And for me, why not just learn more stuff? So like I got back into photography a year or two ago, which I missed from when I was in high school. I started playing guitar when I was real young, finally took lessons a handful of years ago, and now I play with some friends. I have a band I play in.
You're playing guitar now? That's awesome.
I love playing guitar, yeah. I started taking vocal lessons last week because I have time, and why not learn something new? I love singing. I sing in a Nirvana cover band trying to be my best Kurt Cobain, which is very, very hard. But I want to learn like the theory behind it. Like, why do you do what you do when you're singing? Same thing when you're playing guitar. Like, you want to learn the pentatonic scale so you can figure out why things are done the way they are. Why is a song in this key? Reading, I've gotten back into reading this year. I don't really do New Year's resolutions. I try to always just be doing something to better myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, I used to devour books in middle school, got away from it pretty much after that. Then you read a lot of emails, not you're reading most days. Or news, which can just take you down a rabbit hole. So I've gotten back into reading good books, leadership books. Just finished The Power of Habit by, Charles Duhigg. Reading Give and Take by Adam Grant right now. One of my favorites.
What's a book that you finished recently that you would recommend?
Well, one, because we're probably going to touch on here shortly, is Good to Great by Jim Collins. I read that a year ago. It's a classic leadership business book. And oh my God, I took so much from that book. Jim Collins is a brilliant writer. He's got a ton of great books, all very research-backed books. Good to Great is all about companies that were good, but went to great, and what set them apart from their competitors who just stayed at good. So that was a great one. The most recent one is The Power of Habit that I just mentioned. Brilliant book on this thing they call the habit loop. It's like why we do the things we do and how to change habits little by little with things that are called keystone habits. Highly recommended book and a great read, just fun.
We'll link those. We'll link those at the bottom in the show notes as well, because I'm actually in the process of reading Good to Great as well.
What do you think? So
I'm only about 2 chapters into it, so I'm looking forward to finishing that hopefully very soon. So
yeah, it's a good one.
To kind of help to wrap this up, I like ending every episode with kind of putting the ball back into your court, which is, what is one final thought that you could leave our listeners here with?
Sure. And it's kind of funny to me that I really enjoyed Good to Great as much as I did, because when I was about, I don't know, 9, 10 years old, somewhere in that area, I was over at my cousin's house, who's my same age, and we were hanging out playing one evening, and his parents had some kind of get together with some friends, and folks were starting to leave. And this one gentleman, I have no idea who he was, if I even knew him at the time, but he was walking out the door, and he turns to me and my cousin Patrick, and he goes, something, something, something. And boys, he's like, don't be good, be great. And I was like, all right, cool. See you later, guy I don't know. But for some reason, that always stuck with me. Mm-hmm. And it can mean so many things, because it's kind of cliche, and I get it. And it's like having like a live, laugh, love, poster over your bedroom wall or something. Not to, I know some people love that stuff. But it can mean so many things, like keep learning, don't just stop where you are. You can always better yourself in so many different ways as a person, your education, your knowledge, learning a new skill, getting into a creative skill you maybe don't think you're that good at, but you probably would if you just got into it. Just take the time to try it. Surrounding yourself with the right people, which to me, people are so important. That's one thing Jim Collins really hammers on in Good to Great is he used the analogy of a bus. Get the right people on the bus first, then figure out where to put them and where you're going. But people are the key. Got to have the right people with the right mindset in the right spaces, and then you can get forward to where you want to go. So for me, don't be good, be great is just a general, just something it just has always stuck with me. And I think it always will, because it's just a nice reminder of like, you could probably do a little bit more and maybe push yourself outside your comfort zone to learn more, to be a better life partner, to be a better business partner, to be a better friend, to be a better human.
There's always something you can do like +1 better. And that's a phrase I've been using a lot recently is, what can you do to +1 what you did yesterday?
I like that.
It's not about +5, +10, +20. That'll all get there later.
Exactly.
But if you just keep adding 1, eventually you'll get to where you want to be, and also farther than where you ever.
Exactly. People get so daunted by the 20, but it starts at the 1. I have a client that's been calling this during this whole COVID thing, when everyone's just super stressed out, is, little hashtag daily wins. Like, celebrate the little daily wins, the small wins, because all those small wins add up to the big win. And that's when you're all of a sudden you're an overnight sensation. There are no overnight sensations. There was all these small wins you didn't see, and then boom, that's called the overnight sensation. But you didn't see all the stuff before that.
It's that +1 is that straw that broke the camel's back right there. That, basically got you out into the public atmosphere. I don't know.
I love that, Chris. Yeah, the +1.
Yeah.
But you got to do it. You got to start somewhere.
You do. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining me today. And that is a wrap on this episode. You are very welcome. Thank you all for tuning in, and join us next week.